Hello. Before we start our poem, we'd just like to point out that, slam poetry isn't really traditional poetry, right? It doesn't follow any rules. So we thought, why follow the rules of slam poetry? Because there really are none. So this isn't so much a poem as it is a musical narrative. Our topic is unique. There's no worries about plagiarism here. And without any further ado, we would like to present our Ode to Richard Nixon. Attention class, today we're talking about our country's greatest leaders. Today we're going to be talking about Richard Nixon.
Wait a minute, wasn't Richard Nixon one of the worst presidents?
Yes and no. Sure, that was the Watergate scandal, the Pentagon Papers, and Creed.
Yeah, he spied on the American people.
Now hold on, don't get ahead of yourself. There are two sides to every story, and I think you'll find that things look quite a bit different from Richard Nixon's point of view. Kids, it's time to put the history books away. I'm about to tell you the true story of Richard Nixon and how he saved the U.S. of A.
Oh.
Next page. Nixon's dog, Checkers, informed him that the communists were really aliens who were seeking to take over the United States of America and eventually the world.
His dog.
Don't interrupt. Anyway, on the outside, he seemed to be just another senator swept away in the rushing tide of McCarthyism. But what made the difference was what went on behind the scenes. The communists living in America were recruiting an army of citizens who were communist sympathizers and promoting crime in the streets of the United States.
So what did he do?
What any real red-blooded American would. He donned his favorite suit, grabbed his trusty rifle, and went to hunt communists.
Wait a second. So he killed innocent civilians?
No. He never went after the civilian sympathizers. He only ever went for the actual communist alien leaders. He usually picked them off from a distance or performed a drive-by. In any case, everything changed when he managed to capture one. After intense interrogations, in which it took Nixon several hours to convince the suspect that he knew all about his plot, the headquarters of the communists was revealed. After a few more hours, he even managed to get the name of their leader.
Who was it?
Have you ever heard of the Ambassador Hotel?
Ambassador Hotel? No.
It's where Robert Kennedy was assassinated.
Whoa. Robert Kennedy.
Yeah.
Nixon assassinated Robert Kennedy.
It wasn't supposed to happen. Nixon was snooping around the kitchen of the hotel, hoping to uncover their plot. He was surprised when Kennedy walked through the door and stared at him. Nixon realized that his cover had been blown. He knew what he had to do and shot Kennedy while disguised as a Palestinian immigrant.
Okay, you're telling me Kennedy was assassinated by Nixon?
Yes, now you're getting it. Well, that shook Nixon up quite a bit, but at the end of the day, he knew he had saved his country and ultimately the world from certain slavery. By the time Nixon was president, he no longer had to do the dirty work himself. He created entire secret organizations to clean up the few communists remaining. But the blood he had spilled never left his hands. He slowly descended into insanity, eventually leading to... the scandals that caused his downfall. At Watergate, one of his agencies was attempting to check for any signs of communist sympathies.
Wait. So you're telling me Richard Nixon saved the world and the United States from certain destruction from aliens who are communists from outer space?
Precisely. Unfortunately, we're out of time. But rest assured, all the decisions Richard Nixon made were made with the salvation of our country in mind. Nixon never received credit for his actions. Behind the scenes, a shadow in the night, he worked toward the liberation and freedom of the world. And while publicly his name still lives in infamy, his secret legacy saved the free world from slavery. And now it is our duty, though the aliens are gone, to fight those who would maintain the remnants of their ideals. God bless America, and Richard Nixon, rest in peace.
Richard Nixon,
Richard Nixon,
Richard Nixon, Richard Nixon.